Welcome to the Georgia Highlands College Math 97 and Math 99 video tutorials. In this video segment, we'll be answering the question, how do you determine excluded values for rational expressions? Well, remember, when you have a rational expression, you cannot plug in values where it makes the denominator equal 0. Those are considered excluded values. So how do you find out what those values are? Well, you simply set up the equation taking your denominator and equaling it to 0. And when you solve this equation, that's going to give you the values for which if you plug them in, it would cause the denominator to equal 0. Also note that if there are no variables in the denominator of the rational expression, this means unless there are other situations like square roots and things in the numerator that you have to worry about, but it means that if there are no variables in the denominator, you're not going to have any excluded values resulting from the denominator equaling 0. So let's take a look at an example as to how we can find these excluded values. All right, so as stated a moment ago, we want to figure out what values we can't plug in for x, because if we plug in a value that makes the denominator equal to 0, then we will cause this expression to be undefined. So we set up the situation of taking the denominator, x squared plus 3x minus 28, and equaling it to 0. Now when we solve this equation, the solutions for x will be those that make the denominator equal to 0, which will become your excluded values for this particular expression. So you might notice that you have a quadratic equation set up here. This will not always be the case. It just so happens that the trinomial in the denominator of this expression is a quadratic. So we have to use our strategy for solving quadratic equations. This one happens to be able to be factored, and then we can use the zero product property to solve. So in factoring this, we want to look for the values of negative 28 that multiply to make negative 28, but add to make positive 3. And those values are 7 and negative 4. So the left-hand side of this equation factors as x plus 7 times x minus 4 equals 0. Now we have the situation of factors being multiplied together equaling 0, so we can apply the zero product property here. And to apply it, we just set each of these factors equal to 0 and solve the resulting linear equation. So I will first subtract 7 from both sides to solve this linear equation, and we get x equals negative 7. And I will add 4 to both sides to solve and get x equals 4. Now, these are not solutions to the rational expression over here. As a matter of fact, there are no solutions to an expression. You solve equations and you simplify or evaluate expressions. All this is saying is that the values negative 7 and positive 4 cannot be plugged into that expression there. Because if you do this, you're going to create 0 in the denominator. And I'll just show you real quick. If we take negative 7 and plug it into this expression, so 8 times negative 7 minus 40 in my numerator over negative 7 squared plus 3 times negative 7 minus 28 you'll get in the numerator negative 56 minus 40 over, well, negative 7 squared is 49. And 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And minus 28 in the denominator. There's no problem with my numerator. My numerator can be whatever value it comes out to be, even 0. A numerator can be 0 because you can divide 0 as many times as you want to. You just can't divide by 0. And when I further simplify this denominator, 49 minus 21 gives me 28, and I've still got that negative 28 to combine with. And finally, we see that we get negative 96 divided by 0, which is undefined. So, we would get the same thing happening if we plugged in 4. Therefore, the expression (8x minus 40) divided by x squared plus 3x minus 28 is undefined for x equals negative 7 and x equals 4. So I hope that this has been helpful for you in understanding how to find those excluded values, or those values that will cause a rational expression to be undefined. If you have any further questions about how to find these values, please make sure to contact your Highlands instructor. Thank you.